Hello Pineapple Mamas, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over the Baby Brezza Formula Pro Advanced. I'm going to give you some great tips and tricks that are going to save you time and cleanup. So if you're interested, then keep on watching. Hi, if you're new to my channel, my name's Ashley Nicole and my channel is all about helping women through infertility and their journey to motherhood. Alright, without further ado, let's talk about this mamma jamma. So if you've watched some of my recent videos, I have been raving about the Baby Brezza. I absolutely love it. Let me put this thing down though, it's heavy. Okay, so the reason why I love the Baby Brezza is because it makes formula dispensing super easy. It's just one click of a button and all of a sudden you just have the bottle ready. It's perfection. It really cuts out the middleman of having to heat up the formula and hand mix it and hand shake it. So it's just this whole thing that I love to avoid, and I love using this kind of what I call a baby Keurig. If you're thinking of buying the Baby Brezza, or if you already have one, I really think you're gonna benefit from all these tips and tricks. They're just gonna make your life easier. But you didn't come here to hear me go on and on about why I love it so much. You came here because you wanna know some tips and tricks. Let's start off with number one. So my first tip is make sure you refill the water tank at least 10 minutes before you're gonna feed your baby. The reason why is because it takes the water some time to heat back up. So you kind of want to avoid your screaming baby wanting their milk and then you're just sitting there waiting for it to heat up. I myself have gone through that quite a bit because I constantly forget to fill it up. So what I do is every single night or midday, I refill the water while my baby is napping so that it gives it enough time to heat up. I would probably say, I think it takes 2 to 3 minutes. I'm not 100% sure, but it takes enough time that your baby's gonna get a little anxious about getting that milk. And I also found that it kind of speeds up the process if you re-click the temperature that you want. So this one has to do with cleaning the filter. Whenever the filter says it needs to be cleaned, you want to wash it and then you also want to dry it. If you don't dry it, the formula is going to stick all around the edge and it's gonna get a lot of buildup before you have to actually take it out again. The machine itself only thinks you have to clean it after 4 bottles. It's not going to read any extra residue because you put it in wet. Now, number 3 kind of goes hand in hand for when you clean the filter. What you want to do is you want to scrape underneath the dispensing portion of the machine because there can be a lot of buildup here. Since there's water and formula, it just starts to get solid underneath and it gets really sticky. So eventually one day, if you don't clean that, you're gonna see big gulps of formula in your baby's bottle. Or what's worse, which is how I found out that it was getting super dirty, you're gonna see that it's not dispensing properly because it's getting stuck. So make sure that you always go in and clean that out. It's also really gonna help with your monthly maintenance of it because if you just let it build up, it's gonna be a pain to clean up. So number 4, you're probably gonna think, okay, Ashley, obviously I knew this one, but I didn't, so I'm gonna tell you in case you don't. Use the water only option for when you're on the go. So I didn't realize it had a water only option for some reason. I thought it was to like clear the mechanisms or I don't know, whatever. The point is that the water only works great whenever you're gonna leave because you can't prepare the formula in advance since it has a shelf life. So what you want to do is you want to fill your bottle with 3, 4, 5, how many ounces that you need, and then you want to take the formula in a formula dispenser separately. This way, whenever you're on the go, you can mix them together and you're going to have somewhat of warm formula. I do suggest, however, putting it on the highest setting on above body temperature because this way it'll take longer for it to cool down. And I also put it in an insulated bag so that it kind of retains its heat throughout the day. Because if your baby's anything like me, she really doesn't like cold bottles. She'll take them, but it takes me quite a while for her to actually warm up to it. Pun intended. If you're liking this tip so far, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Alright, number 5, I told you I was going to save you time with cleaning, and this involves the bottle base. So So you want to make sure and clean that at least once a day because it gets very sticky. Even though it seems like it's not getting dirty at all because you're not actually putting any formula or formula is not going through it, it does end up getting quite a bit of splash in it and some water. So if you don't clean it, there's a lot of edges that the formula can get stuck in and it takes a long time to clean afterwards. So just make sure that you are cleaning it at least once a day. Okay, so number 6 is for when your baby is teething. I make formula popsicles for my baby, and I would say that you want to set it at the lowest temperature because this way it's going to get colder in the freezer quicker. And because it's formula and water, it does separate a little bit. So what you want to do is you want to stir it every so often so that the formula and the water are all together in the popsicle. I honestly just tried these because I had heard of breast milk popsicles, and then I was like, well, I'm not breastfeeding. My daughter has a milk protein allergy, so maybe I can do formula pops, and it kind of turned out okay. Okay, numero 7. So for this one, you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but refill the formula before you get to the minimum line. The minimum line is kind of hard to tell when your formula is moving around and it's kind of like mountainy, and you can't tell that well. So you should refill it before you get to that line, not at or underneath that line. Longevity of the machine and for it to work properly. All right, so number 8 might seem like another obvious thing, but again, to me it wasn't. Whenever you do make a bottle, make sure that you shake it afterwards because the baby Brezza is really just dispensing the amount of water and the amount of formula that you need in order for it to go together. But it's not mixing it for you, it's dispensing it for you. So if you kind of look at the bottle right after it's been dispensed, you'll see that it's a little broken up at the bottom and at the top because it hasn't been mixed properly. So I highly suggest for digestion reasons that you just give it some vigorous shaking and then it's gonna be all good to go. Okay, number 9 has us all a little bit confused. Whenever you dispense the formula, it actually shows half an ounce more than you asked for. The reason for this is because the formula and the water mixed actually raise the levels of the water. I didn't know that. So anyways, know that you are getting the 3 or 4, etc. ounces. It's just gonna show half an ounce more. And what's more is that if you have a bottle that, let's say you want 4 ounces and 4 is the most the bottle can have, it actually still has room for another half an ounce. So you don't have to use the larger size bottle for that. Number 10 is more of a preference thing and it's more my opinion. However, it has to do with the temperature settings. So for the room temperature setting, I think it's really great for hot summer days because it's not cold necessarily. So the baby still likes it, but it's not hot. So it's not gonna somehow heat up the baby even more when they're already in a hot environment. Then the above room temperature one is really great whenever you're at home or just for overall ease because you might not want to get your baby used to very warm formula if you don't have one of those like on-the-go heaters because it's kind of hard to warm up formula once you're out like at Target or something. Then the above body temperature setting I think is really great for when they go to bed. This really just helps make them feel more comfortable, helps soothe them down, warm up their bellies, and get them nice and tired. So I always use it for my baby, and I kid you not, it always works. Oh yeah, and this final tip is for my husband. So he's gotten a little bit splashed sometimes. What you want to do is you want to make sure and wait for the water to dispense. Sometimes if you're filling the formula in the dark, maybe your kitchen is right next to your nursery like mine is, and you just press the start button, you want to wait a couple more seconds after you don't hear it dispensing because when it dispenses the water at the very end, you can barely hear it because it's really just putting water in there. It makes the most noise when it's dispensing water and formula, but it definitely still is dispensing water for a little while very silently. So just be careful on that one. Okay, mamas, thank you so much for watching. I would love for you to hit that subscribe button so you can join our Pineapple Mamas tribe where we are women supporting women. And as always, stay hopeful and stay happy. I'll see you in my next one.